Do not get tired of listening to my class. Look at Khenpo Tsotrong Lodro. He began class at 3 p.m. and then continued all the way to 6 p.m., over 2 hours. So compared to him, my class is much shorter. If you were to listen to him, that is much longer because I teach for only an hour and a half. Now let us take a look at the text of the 37 practices of Bodhisattva. Previously, we have already concluded the teachings on the relative bodhicitta. Now let's look at the ultimate bodhicitta. The first part talks about the meditative equipoise during the meditative equipoise, and then the one of post-meditation. So let us look at training in simplicity free from fixation during meditative equipoise. This particular teaching is the most profound. Over here it says that whatever appears is all one's own mind. Mind itself is primordially beyond all mental constructs. Knowing this, it is the practice of the Bodhisattvas not to hold on to any attributes of perceiver and perceived. No matter how these outer and inner phenomena appear, the vessel and its contents are mere imputations of our own mind, empty of any existence of their own. That is, from its nature, it is of empty. Even the imputing mind itself is primordially free from all extremes such as existence and non-existence, eternalism and nihilism. In this way, one understands the ultimate real condition of all phenomena subsumed under subject and object exactly as it is. So the object and the subject, in fact, they are not truly existent. To meditate on emptiness free of mental constructs without dwelling on any attributes, such as believing that there is any true existence to the outer perceived objects and inner perceiving mind, is the manner of practice whereby bodhisattvas cultivating resting the equanimity of space-like emptiness. In fact, this is the most profound in Mahaati. This verse is exactly like the Mahaati teaching. Other than that, there is no other teachings that's been taught in Mahaati, nor of Madhyamika and so on. From the Prajnaparamita Sutra, complete knowledge of the manner in which all phenomena are unborn and empty is supreme engagement in transcendent knowledge. And also, to meditate of transcendent knowledge is not to meditate on anything whatsoever. It is to say that meditation of transcendent knowledge is a meditation of space. In fact, meditating upon space is exactly that, and not to simply look into the space. I've posted this particular quote previously as well. Accordingly, no phenomena subsumed under the category of external object exist apart from being mere imputations of mind, since the imputing mind itself is also beyond arising, dwelling, and ceasing. All phenomena which appears as the perceiver and perceived remain as emptiness free from mental construct. So, during the time of giving the teachings on the commentary of ornaments of Madhyamika or of the fundamental wisdom, in fact, I believe many people had already developed their personal insights upon this particular points. When a yogi, a practicing meditator or practitioner, has gained certainty regarding the natural state in this way, he rests undistractedly in a state of not mentally engaging in anything at all. Here, the outer perceived object does not exist as anything whatsoever, and perceiving mind does not grasp at anything whatsoever, entity or non-entity, etc., and nothing whatsoever is conceptualized. This is the manner of meditating in the equanimity of space-like emptiness. From the commentary of the enlightened mind, from the commentary on the enlightened mind, a mind free of focus dwells in the characteristic of space. This meditation of space is asserted to be meditation on emptiness. In the way of the Bodhisattva, Shantideva, when he arose from the Dharma seat and ascended to space, he said this, which is recited by lots of practitioners, if they can memorize it. He said that whenever entities and non-entities do not dwell before your mind, since at that time there are no other features, absence of a reference point is utter space. Everything is like space. All of you who are like me must comprehend this thoroughly. He, at the beginning, Shantideva, that is, said that I did not have bodhicitta. At the beginning of giving the teaching of Bodhisattva Charyavatara, I simply was summarizing it because of my familiarization with this practice. But at the end of teaching on the wisdom chapter, I really wish that all sentient beings can be like me to understand the space-like prajna paramita. All sentient beings can attain that insight, he said in such a way. Lord Atisha also said in the similar fashion, he said that within intrinsic nature free of mental constructs, leave also the mind free from the mental constructs, and realizing by way of non-conception is termed realization of the ultimate. Juntunpa also said the following: the natural state, empty of the three times, is not to be sought outside, for you will be deceived by the object. In fact, this is the teaching that's very often quoted by the Kadampas. The Kadampas are the early transmissions or teachings of Gelupa, all the way between Atisha to Tsongkhapa. The teachings given or the lineage that's passed down between them can be called as the Gatampas. The Gatampas bestowed the Dharma teachings of Gatampas bestowed by Atisha to Juntunpa, and then to Gombawa, to Puchunwa, to Longritampa. Those were the disciples all the way between 11th century to the 14th century. And then from 15th century, then Master Tsongkhapa was born. Tsongkhapa, after Tsongkhapa started give teachings on Lamrim, and he based Lamrim instead of Bodhipata Pradipa. And that's when the Gatampa monasteries slowly became Gelupa, or transformed into the now Gelupa. Around that period of time, there were a great numbers of monasteries in Tibet. And I think around that time there was the king of Mongolia around the 13th century. He said that most of the disciples and most of the monasteries in Tibet are of the Gatampa school. So the Gatampa would engage in practice. Lots of the great practitioners from Gatampa school. Of course, there are great numbers of practitioners from Nyingmapa and Sakyapas as well. For a period of time in Tibet, the religion and politics were combined together. They were of one unit. That is to say that the religious personnels were also the political personnels. This kind of phenomena is also shared with, for example, Sakyapas and Gelupas and Kakyupas as well. But for Nyingmapas, mostly the religious personnels are not very much involved with political positions, because the Nyingmapas are usually practitioners. When I look at this author, I think Chogi Dragpa is more interested in the Gautama Drampa teachings. Now, this particular author, Choki Drakpa, I think I mentioned that in the biography of Phuntsog Rinpoche, that he was one of the manifestations or reincarnations of the author of Flower Garland Shastra from India. And Choki Drakpa, whom was born around the Dao area, some said that he was the previous life of Phuntsog Rinpoche. And at the time of Choki Drakpa passing into parinirvana, he was renowned as a great master who preserved pure precepts. People may ask people asked him, how would we find your reincarnation? He said that, well, you don't necessarily need to do that, because at a certain period of time, there would be someone who will be born in this world that can chant the Manjushri Namasangiti, and he would be the one that restore the Dharma centers, and that person is going to be my reincarnation. While saying that, he touched and wiped his own bowl and then passed into parinirvana. So later, a great numbers of masters recognized those descriptions were of Phuntsog Rinpoche. Back in 1986, many people would go to Phuntsog Rinpoche and ask him whether he is the reincarnation of Choki Drakpa. And he said, it's not necessarily, but it is definitely stated and prophesied in such a way. For that reason, I would chant the Manjushri Namasangiti. I used to be able to memorize it, but maybe it's not complete right now. Maybe I cannot recite them incomplete right now, so I'd better give you the transmission by reading. So he gave the teachings of Bodhisattva Charyavatara and the six bardos. I came to Larangar around 1985, and he gave those teachings back in 1986. Around that time, I was very interested in the reincarnation and the history of Phuntsog Rinpoche, and I remember that he manifested all kinds of miraculous manifestations. I'm not sure why I got to this part, but well, maybe we can stop here today.
Sunumdai Tamchi Zubanya Domnani Bejana Banshi Jan Kirgana Jiran Chuba Chubum Sulen Ro